Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we are live. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. This is a Friday morning, the 5th of February. The month is moving on. It is Black History Month. I hope you're celebrating and engaging in some extra curriculum activity for Black History Month. Yesterday was Coretta Scott King's birthday, and we went on to celebrate the fact that she lived a long, healthy life. And today we're going to continue our topic of, are you living well? Are you aging well? And today's topic, talking about are you aging well, we're going to be bringing some closure to the information I gave you yesterday about the aging mechanism and the fountain of youth that they have found. And I talked to you a little bit about the mitochondria. The mitochondria is in our body, and free radicals take up the mitochondria, and they absorb them and prevent them from developing. We need nitric oxide to increase our mitochondria. The nitric oxide is not something you can just take like a medicine. It develops in your body, and there must be other chemicals to help that nitric oxide begin to build up the mitochondria. Now, we are experiencing some brand new evidence that there is a way to rewind the clock back for those seniors who are trying to get their mitochondria to function just like it did when they were younger. Now, that we have the capacity in our beings, but there must be chemical products that are given to us. Now, there's a doctor, Dr. English, who is working on products that can help the mitochondria steer away from the free radicals. As you know, our circulation and our blood pressure is also under attack. The blood pressure has to have stimulus to flow. And men, you need to hear this because the blood flow for you is very important. And with the medicines that are given for high blood pressure, it usually stops the stimulation of blood, specifically to the scrotum areas where the man needs to be able to have a bloodstream flow continuously. Otherwise, it will constrict his ability to be able to have an erection. So, some of the doctors have been finding that with this new youth aid, it will also work on the collagen levels in the skin to help to pump up the hydration in the skin, as well as taking collagen and putting it back into the facial tissue. And these are something that we should be happy about because now they're finding that they can even show an effect on the skin, whereas the L-arginine, which is one of our 23 amino acids, L-arginine is working its way in the body, which you can buy L-arginine and take it. However, L-arginine can also come from the 23 amino acid. It works on hydrating the skin and giving it that collagen that it needs to keep that muscle pumped up so that we don't have sinking, sagging skin. So here, the mitochondriac also works towards the skin, improving the energy, and in the joint areas and the ligaments so that your body is able to run and not feel stiff joints and weak joints. And it works specifically on the skeleton system to help us to keep our frames together and keep them strong. Because a lot of people suffer from restrictions of joints and they can't walk. You hear a lot of popping and cracking when they walk. This product that Dr. English is working on the skeleton system, the overall skeleton system, as well as the dermis of the skin. Now, the energy part where we are weak and don't have the endurance, it is working on the endurance to give that endurance effect again. Now, a lot of you are suffering from high blood pressure. Okay? And no one knows the norm, but we're being diagnosed with high blood pressure. This product that Dr. English has put together is also going to work to normalize the high blood pressure for you based on whatever your norm is. Okay? That doesn't say that it's a cure. It's to normalize. I'm not offering a cure here. Let me offer up with a random that I am not saying any of these things cure. These are assistant tools that these researchers have come up with and these scientists. Now that we look at the blood pressure, getting it normal, then what about our ACH1 for our blood sugar? Our blood sugar with this product can also be normalized beyond the level 7, meaning that anything over 7 can be considered as abnormal blood sugar levels. And we want our blood sugar levels to be below the 7, the ACH. Now, once again, it's going to work to help the diabetes type 2. And that's a great discovery because a lot of people are suffering from diabetes type 2 and they need this product to normalize their ACH and give them a lower blood sugar. So once again, here it is working on the aesthetics of the skin. Now it's internalizing, working on that pancreas as well as the secretion of the insulin. Now, they've also discovered that with this product, they can not only just normalize the blood sugar, we have something that is going called free radicals. It can eliminate our free radicals. And free radicals break down the body. They destroy the body, and we want to get them out of our system. Now, I remember I told you about the nitrous oxide. The nitrous oxide is not something that normally develops in our body, but it... What did you say? Who? Who are you talking about? He told you what he said? Okay. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like for you to look to research right now that is going, the scientists that are doing their due diligence, and Dr. English, who has sponsored this research up under his auspices, he's talking about the mitochondria. The mitochondria is very important, ladies and gentlemen. It is our youth aid. And when our mitochondria is affected by not having enough nitric oxide, it doesn't produce the hormones that will cause the rewinding of your cells and giving you a chance to renew your cells. And every cell can be renewed. The body is miraculous. It does wondrous things. And not to say that to leave it on its own, but to fire up those L-arginines and the mitochondria that actually work towards rewinding the stage of aging and allowing the body to renew itself. But you have got to give it the necessary items that will do this work. You just can't leave it to itself because the body will deteriorate, and some of those L-arginines are working for us when we take our complete protein, and the complete protein has L-arginine in it. And a lot of people take L-arginine separately, isolated, and you can get L-arginine in a separate form. It is one of the 23 amino acids, however. You can go out and study that. And study the mitochondria, because the mitochondria is going to be the actual ticket to us renewing our cells. But we can't do this just by taking in food supplements. We have to have the proper elements that are non-drug therapy. These are non-drug items that I'm talking about. And I'm talking about aging well. After 7 days, Dr. English claims that you will begin to see a difference. It didn't say a cure, but you begin to see a difference in your energy level, your skin tone, as well as your ability to have endurance. And that's what aging is all about, lowering our endurance. And a lot of us think that this goes along with aging, but it doesn't. You don't have to be tired and weary. You can have strength, and you can do some of the same things you did when you were younger, if you make sure that your free radicals are limited in your system, and that you're fighting off your free radicals. Free radicals can come from the environment, they come from the air, from your home, from chemicals, and they tend to work on destroying the mitochondria. And we don't want the mitochondria damage, because that is what gives us the endurance. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am excited about the newfound research. And Dr. English has been talking to those over the airways about his newfound product. It is a three-phase prong, a three-phase in fact, that it goes through three phases in order to work. And we must understand that the dermis skin is a third phase, and that is the phase of the exterior skin, the whole skin tone, the dermis and the upper layer of the skin is all affected. Not just the facial skin, but the body skin for cellulite and for those little spider veins. It renews the skin to project that it is reversing back to a younger age. And you can see that you're going to have the endurance in running and also doing things that you used to could not squat to do. It is giving you the joint ability to help build up the muscle structure. So once again, it is doing a whole job on the holistic body. And since when have you seen any product that also works on exterior and internal? This is great finding, great news for us elders who are now looking at getting older than 80. Some people will live to be 90 or 100, but they want to have that endurance so that they can use that endurance where they can function like somebody younger. You're going to have a lot of people asking questions about how is this done. Well, it's been proven over 12 weeks. They have been doing case studies of people for 12 weeks. As long as they incorporate at least 30 minutes of exercise a week. And over the 12-week period, one group was given a placebo, and the other group was given the actual Metaphilia 27. And with that product, they have been able to turn around the time and the clocks of aging. And with these blind studies, these people have committed to stay the course for 12 weeks. Now, let me also cover one other area since we're talking about skin. It does also internalize, he says, and work on the endocrine system and the internal stomach. It alleviates the fat in the stomach so that you're losing between 10 to 15 pounds of fat, stomach fat. And it specifically isolates the stomach to work on losing the weight in the stomach. And this is amazing because a lot of people have problems with areas of their stomach that's bloated. And he also discovered after a 12-week study that people lost between 15 pounds and some of them lost more. But the main thing is they cited the stomach fat was where it was targeted for. So that's another area other than the exterior skin, also internally organs that were losing weight. Now, I want you to get excited about it because this is something that will tell us that we are living well and aging well. I think I'm onto something when it comes to the aging products. There are new form companies that are now working very feverishly on working on eliminating aging because there's so many baby boomers now that are trying to stay young who have a young mind. Now that's another area. It works on the mitochondria and the mind to have good, strong memory, long-term memory, and short-term memory. So this product also focuses in on mind fogs to help the mind to be able to recall information and to give you endurance so you can do puzzles, so you can concentrate. So it works on the mind exclusively to give that mitochondria a chance to renew itself, to recall information. One of the things I think the women is going to be happy with is that they're going to be able to look years younger and feel much younger and have endurance. So when we talk about this Metaphysio 27. It is a compound that is made up of several elements, such as the L-arginine, mitochondria, nitric oxide, and made up of products that will L-arginine, which I told you is one of the 23 amino acids. You can take that now if you like. L-arginine has been around for many, many long years, and it is part of the 23 amino acids. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want you to think that this is a supernatural pill, but I do want you to know that you'll have some reactions by 7th day. The doctor has said that you will see some renewal of the skin tone and your endurance by the 7th day. This is not a cure-all, and we're not offering up a quick cure-all and an overnight thing. We're not telling you that. We're not doctors, we're not a member of the bar, and we are not offering you any type of cure. This is a regimen that Dr. English has talked about and that many people are trying for themselves, including myself. I'm just telling you what I'm about to try, because these products have wholesome foundation, and you can look up L-arginine and tell what the side effects are. It is one of the 23 amino acids. It can be isolated and taken separately. It doesn't have to be taken with all 23 amino acids. And the nitric oxide is something that develops in our body that we can trigger to flow down. It is a flowing mechanism where it increases the pressure of the blood flow so that we will have that energy and synergetic energy that we need. And one of the other things that you should also recognize is that it is very good to look at natural products, alternative products. I've been taking a form of magnesium powder, which has a great effect on diabetes and helping the diabetes to create a lower ACH. And it is very good for the sleep pattern. But I do want you to understand that there is no cure-all that we're talking about. We're talking about an aiding substitute that will help the body slow down the aging. Now, if those of you out there who are elders and have been looking for something to slow down your aging, who wanted to know more about can my gray hair be reversed, there's information also on the website about excessively graying hair. What causes it? How do we turn the hair back to its normal color? Now, I don't want anyone to panic and think, oh, we got a Pangea here, or this product is supposed to cure everything. No, we're not telling you that. This is not what we're saying here today, and we're not convincing anyone to take this product. I am just sharing with you of the products that I'm about to take. Now, as far as you go, I cannot advise you on anything. Everything you begin to test, you go to your doctor first and ask your doctor to do an examination on the products and to give you his opinion. Then you proceed based on what your doctor is telling you. But do not up and take matters in your own hand, and do not, of all people, say that I convinced you to take anything. I am not alerting you to take anything. I am merely sharing with you about the newfound research that's out there that young people can take advantage of, as well as our seniors. And these are tips and information where you can read for yourself and find out for yourself and make the decision between talking to your doctor and then sitting down intelligently and going over the products, ingredients, to see what they are supposed to do in the body. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is a good life, and let's play the good life. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. You are now with the illustrious hostess, Omiinka 7 and Tribe. And this is Spreaker. This is our Omiinka's broadcaster studio where we talk about health and wellness. And ladies and gentlemen, I've had a background in health and wellness, working for an associate degree in medical records. And I've learned quite a bit in the health area. And I want to share it with you because I spent many hours in classroom training, taking anatomy, physiology, chemistry, pathology, biology 1 and 2, and physiology, and anatomy and medical terminology. So with that knowledge, I hope to share it with you, my audience, my listening audience. I am familiar with what the body does, the organs, and the cavity of the heart, the lungs, and the spleen, as well as the kidneys and the bladder. And I understand the brain area, the medulla oblongata, the brain stem, as well as the frontal lobe, the occipital lobe, temporal lobe of the actual brain. And I've learned the 206 bones of the body. And I like to take that knowledge and utilize it with you as an adjunct professor teaching medical records and medical terminology. I like to share that information with you and put my scientist hat on, if I may, and my instructor's hat on. So as I give you these terminologies, these are not just words I'm reading off some sheet or something. I've internalized these terms and I know these terms. And I've been told that it's best to give our presentation and our platform on what we know best and what we have a niche for. And this happens to be my niche in the allied health profession as well as in the medical research profession. As a medical record specialist, we have had to research diagnosis, procedures. And one of the things that I had taken odds to, just to deviate a little bit from Are You Living Well, I like to venture off into what is currently happening now in the pandemic. And in our effort to come up with an actual, I guess you would say, an antidote, to come up with the antidote. And we know that for many, many weeks we were told that it would take more than a year to come up with a vaccine, something that can cure this pandemic. Now, one of the things I do know something about is in the pathology lab. Viruses that we are looking at, people who are ordinarily just general lay people don't know about viruses, and they can't perceive catching something. They think you can catch something. We all have viruses in our bodies, and we don't have to catch a virus. We are born here with the ability for virus to intrude into our body. The white cells, of course, do fight them off, and they're like our little army who stands up, and our T cells who are fighting off these viruses with the white cells elevating, letting us know something is wrong in our body. Now, but we have been able to cure viruses. We've been able to take various different things, such as if someone came in with a virus, they could actually take a penicillin or one of the C-chlors to help them to fight off these bacteria. Some people have gotten pneumonia, viral pneumonia, walking pneumonia, and it's been mimicked to look like the COVID-19. And for some reason or other, the hospitals have been treating these patients who have pneumonia, who have bacterial pneumonia, viral pneumonia. They've been treating them just like the COVID virus, and they really shouldn't. And then there was talk about bringing in the ventilators to help expedite these people's condition. And when I heard about this, I immediately stood up and said, wait a minute. If you do not know how to operate these machines, which are highly digital and technology, You have to be a technician. I was a technician working with setting up the ventilators. And believe you me, I had many hours of studies that I had to matriculate through before I was allowed to even calibrate a blood gas, the arterial blood gas. These are arterial blood gases that are drawn from the patient, and they are calibrated in a machine to see how much oxygen they are receiving in order to know how to set up these ventilators. Now, pray tell me, who was running down to do the blood gases, arterial blood gases, to run them, to know how to set up these ventilators? I didn't see anyone in these hospitals that had these specialists like the technicians that were respiratory therapists doing this. I didn't see any of the team there in emergency to use the ambu bags to try to resuscitate these people. And I know you got to use the ambu bags much longer than what they describe in order to resuscitate a vessel that came in on arrest. And no one was using the ambu bags to get these people compressions lined up with someone doing the compressions on the CPR and someone doing the ambu bags. It wasn't happening. So therefore, these people were going on ventilators before these prerequisite things were done. And they should have also looked at whether to intubate or not, because it is very dangerous when you intubate. And to clean the airways with other things that are less threatening should have happened first. But it didn't. These people went right on. They only used the ambu bag and compressions for a short period of time. And they even said it. They admitted it. I said, well, that right there was poor procedure. And so they went right on the ventilator, hooked them up, not knowing if it was hooked up appropriate or not calibrating their blood gases to see how much oxygen they needed, and then to shut them up in the room and not to have anyone to go in to monitor these machines was death itself. Death. Because if you do not monitor these machines, you're surely going to die. You're going to die from the oxidation of the carbon dioxide, and then you'll become brain dead. And that's what happened. A lot of these people were not being cured on these ventilators. They were creating oxidation and oxygen that will actually internalize and kill the people on the ventilator. We need to take statistics of how many of these people came off the ventilator and were weaned off and were sent home, opposed to how many of these people had brain damage and who were brain dead and who never came off the ventilator. Well, if you had pneumonia, you could easily be mistaken as having COVID-19 and being treated with the wrong procedure. And I think a lot of the nurses did not know this, and they were not appropriately prepared to monitor those ventilators. And in fact, they were told to shut the door and don't go into the room where the ventilator patients were. That alone told me that was a mercy killing. That alone told me that those people were not going to make it, who had the doors shut, who had no one monitoring their ventilators. Now, I just wanted to insert that, to let somebody know that there are far better bedside manners that we can follow, that we can look into, than putting on these expensive ventilators and then not knowing how to operate them and then not calibrating them or monitoring them and then causing people to perish. Ladies and gentlemen, we really need to look at the hospitals and what their procedures are and how they're following through on caring for these patients that supposedly have been diagnosed with COVID-19. But we're going to have a serious problem up ahead unless we have trained technicians to go in to know what they're doing. At one point, I had thought I would go in to volunteer to help. But then when I saw these people getting wrong instructions from the doctor, and forcing them to put the covert virus in with the well patients, I then knew that this was a mercy killing. It was nothing I could do or say. And I would probably be frowned upon if I did give instructions. So I turned away and said, let them figure out what is best to be done. But nevertheless, we have an epidemic and a pandemic, and we have got to look at what's going to happen with the second phase. And these people, like Tyler Perry going in saying you should take your shot, he has no business recommending to anyone to take a shot that these people have not discussed with their immediate MD or medical doctor. He has no business using his position to persuade any African Americans that it is their due diligence to have this shot. Shame on you, Tyler Perry. If that's what someone has paid you to do, then you're clearly out of order, because that is not something that we take lightly. Every man and woman must decide for themselves and take responsibility for their own action. No one should be persuading our African American community to take these shots because they have a stronghold in our community. They shouldn't take their position to persuade a novice in taking these shots, these injections. Injections are dangerous by themselves, let alone the covert virus vaccine. They're dangerous by themselves. But when I found out that Tyler Perry was taking this challenge on, and they were convincing him to talk to his people about us taking this injection. Why do they want to push this injection on us so much? What is the purpose of trying to heal us? They've not been wanting to heal us or do anything for us, especially not in the form of a pharmaceutical drug. I would take precautions for myself and my family. I can't tell you what to do, but I'm telling me that I am taking precautions, and I am weighing all options. And for someone to call my house and let me know they're going to be in the community to give out the shots, it means nothing to me, because I take full control over my body and decisions of whether or not I want to be inhalatedly injected. One time that happened with the military, where they had claimed to lost my medical records, and even with the chaplains insisting that I did not need to take that shot again, they insisted that I did. I had a reaction. I was allergic to the product that they use. So I will never take another injection as long as I live, because I feel my body is strong enough that it will build up the antibodies that I need, let alone giving me some type of sedative that may have aborted babies in there, which they have a whole list of all the ingredients. And some of those things I don't even want in my body, and I don't think they would cure my body. Now, there's a lot of talk about this injection altering the DNA, and doctors have come out and said it, that the DNA will be altered, and that there's some form of protein that they're giving you that is excessive, and it is excessive in the African American body. However, it does not affect the Caucasian's body, because they have a large percentage of protein in their body, and it doesn't affect them. So, is this product earmarked to affect African American? Will it change our DNA? And if so, what is it changing our DNA to? And is it blatantly depositing some type of electronic deposit that can be used to scan our bodies to detect where we are at all times? All of these questions need to be answered. Now, granted that most people have never worked in a laboratory, don't know a lot about scientific things, you cannot presume that they're ignorant. You must presume that they have enough sense to protect their bodies, to not allow or to submit to foreign particles going in their bodies. And I personally want to say, for the record, this pandemic has changed a lot of lives, and it's changed our whole country. And I don't hear too many scientists coming up saying, hey, let's collaborate our efforts with an alternative doctor. Let's go over to Africa. Let's go over into Egypt, and let's collaborate with some of these well-known alternative doctors. Because the allopathic doctors, they merely, when they get ready to treat a patient, they treat a symptom and they suppress a symptom. They don't treat the cause. Alternative doctors treat a cause. So why not collaborate with these alternative doctors to find out what is the real cause and the nature of this covert virus? Where did it come from? Who sent it out into the atmosphere? And what was the purpose for sending it out in the atmosphere? And we're looking at phase 2 now, coming out. Are they aware of these viruses because they're sending them out themselves? But we got to get a hold on what is really going on, because it seems like to me there's a political fight going on, and there is an effort to eliminate individuals, to reduce population, and then at the same time they just keep burying large sums of people as if it means nothing, that they're trying to get the count down. And if this is the case where you're killing innocent people to just get rid of environmental numbers, and you're trying to get down and you're trying to eliminate 3 billion people, then by golly, you're on your way to do that. But let us in on what is going on, because it is such a silent secret. And this has been a secret society, if you ask me. And the truth is not coming out. But the truth will prevail and rise to the top. And people won't be able to lie anymore, because it will be heard on the rooftop. And for some of the people who are penetrating others with their lies, saying, put this mask on, now you're going to wear a double mask, and it's going to help double protect you, when in fact the enemy can be within, and we could be holding this massive disease on the inside of us because of the atmosphere has put this product in the air, and people are getting choked up from the atmosphere. Somebody needs to go ahead and tell us the truth. You need to break free and go ahead and tell us the truth and move